Kitty Pryde kidnapped? The X-Men expelled to another dimension? This intro off-brand? All this and more. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 99. 99, that's true. Of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 181 by writer Chris Claremont, penciler John Romita Jr., inked by Dan Green. Cover date of May 1984. Whew, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. I think because it's episode 99, we're going to try to fit as many Wayne Gretzky puns into this episode as possible. Because if there's one thing the great one, loves, it's X-Men comics.
Well, you pass me that puck and I'll put it into the
I'm in my office behind the net, pal. I'm going to throw it right at you. All right.
I gotcha. All right. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how I'll get my mind into that, but we'll see what happens by the end. We have a few things to talk about before we can dive into the dragony meat, the reptilian meat of issue 181, and that's sort of where we were at last issue in issue 180. It was an issue where Kitty Pryde follows Douglas Ramsey, now revealed to be a mutant whose abilities are language, communication, very loosely revealed by Professor X. He was
the language of love, by the way.
Language of love. There's been a nice thing kind of growing between Doug and Kitty, which serves to, again, reveal the truth of Kitty's emotions and Peter's emotions. So Doug is there as like to create that love triangle. They've been through a lot in recent months, and Doug is positioning himself to be a reasonable partner and pal for Kitty in some way. So he's gone off to, it's not much of an undercover, but the Massachusetts Academy, which is
MIT. Guys, he's gone to go build a computer.
He's gone to a private school. He's been recruited to come take a look at the campus of Emma Frost's private school. And of course, Kitty knows, but can't reveal how she knows that the school is a breeding ground for evil mutants. And so
which later on they will give a name to.
Right. She goes with Doug Ramsey to the school to protect him. And while that's happening, she realizes that Emma Frost has the upper hand and knows she's coming and is prepared for Kitty and Douglas. And the X-Men have been surprisingly transported to another realm to go experience 12 issues of Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, which is a pocket narrative. It's not really related to anything that goes on in X-Men comics, except for maybe a couple minor threads that develop. And I think we should just touch upon the minor threads before we kind of get back into X-Men. So if anything changed in Secret Wars, it would impact what happens one issue later in X-Men. For instance, Professor X has gone to the Beyonders world, whether it's called Battle World or who cares what it's called. He's gone, and anyone in the chat, please remind me what that world is called. Battle World, whatever. Professor X has gone to that with the use of his legs, right? So he's an active field participant in the X-Men and the other superhero teams that are there. So the Avengers are, an iteration of the Avengers are there with Captain America. And the Fantastic Four is there, minus Invisible Woman. I believe she's sort of pregnant at the time, and they didn't want to bring her. So the Fantastic Three are there, just the boys, and a smattering of other solo heroes, such as the Hulk, and a few other people like that. So it's sort of a collection of Marvel's bigger names, and then of course a bunch of villains. So touch point number one, Professor X is there, and he and Cyclops is there too. So he's kind of integrated back into the X-Men corner of things, which obviously conflicts with the ongoing story of Storm being the leader. Now you've got two field leaders there, Storm and Cyclops, plus you've got Professor X in the mix. And he's struggling with kind of not being a leader when he's in the field. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And the way it resolves in Secret Wars is Jim Shooter does no work on this. So it's just Cyclops is kind of field leader. Professor X is definitely a big player. Storm is a background character in Secret Wars. Fine. No movement towards her darker side in the developments in her character. There's nothing Claremontian about what happens in Secret Wars whatsoever. Wolverine is a bit player, backseat. Colossus has a love affair with a white-haired alien who I believe his name is Zaji, or at least that's the way the 10-year-old kid in me read her name. And she is a healer.
Oh,
so yeah, she heals his broken heart, let's put it that way. So he gets to have
again and again and again.
He comes back to Earth by the end of this as a bit more of an experienced emotional partner in some way. So he's had relations in maybe retcon or maybe not in retcon, but he's had relations in the Savage Land. Popped his cherry in the Savage Land. And then, have something happening with Kitty that it seems much more wholesome, even though we have, we read it with the age difference being problematic. But emotionally, it's a little more genuine and deeper. And then he's had this experience with Saji on Battle World, which is what it is. So there's that. Yeah, that narrative there. Chuck says, Colossus must love these road trips to exotic locations. He's a sexy times tourist. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so there's that narrative. So there's the Professor X leadership trinity thing. There's the Colossus thing. And then maybe most importantly, in the long arc of Claremont's narrative, there's the part where Magneto is actually, he's grouped with the heroes, not by his choice. Maybe it's a sorting hat kind of thing where you get to be where you want to be, but the heroes are all brought to Battle World by the Beyonder, and they're placed together, and Magneto is incorporated into that. So Magneto is basically confronting the other heroic characters, saying that yeah, I'm not the villain you think I am. Yes, I've done these terrible things, but I am trying to do right by save my people. So it's kind of interesting that he's sort of announced as a hero in that world. And I would say those are the three main character points that happen over Secret Wars. If not for that, none of it matters.
But
in terms of X-Men.
Right. Because isn't the big thing of Secret Wars is generally speaking with Marvel, is the Spider-Man black alien symbiote suit.
Well, that's the most long-standing minor plot point. Absolutely. I mean, it spawned, yeah. It went on to everything. Yeah. So, and it's such a minor thing, but it was a marketing thing to get Spider-Man in a new suit, new action figure, all those fun things. So, no one would have expected to become what it became and have a character with 2 movies and the whole bit. Or let's add more movies. Let's say it's 3 if we include Spider-Man 3, which we should.
Which we should. We do include it.
We do. So yeah, it's that is probably the biggest long-standing impact of that series. Right. The action figures, all that fun stuff, and big marketing thing. But other than that, nothing happens to the X-Men per se, except for those minor things. Now, I went in to go read New Mutants number 15, thinking it was the second half of the 2-parter. We get Uncanny X-Men 180. Kitty Pryde is kidnapped with Doug Ramsey. They're on Massachusetts Academy. And the next thing we read New Mutants 15. So I read that, and it was, it wasn't fun for me. I didn't enjoy it, but that's okay. And it's not the second part. It is the first of 3 parts.
Oh, wow.
So basically what happens is, remember the conversation I was having at 8-Bit Beans on Saturday with the college professor?
Well, I remember a conversation happening. I don't know if I remember the content of said conversation. I was enjoying my chili cheese nachos.
Fair enough. And thanks again for those, by the way.
Yeah, pretty tasty.
One of the things we were talking about was coding. Okay. And in the sense of like how these stories can be interpreted. Like there are things that are in long-standing narratives and older traditional narratives that are sort of code for other things sometimes.
Okay.
So we were talking about this idea that you get these women, older women in power, who often have they're trying to tempt a younger woman to change her ways, and how that's often a code for something else, for like, and sometimes these women have like very striking features, or and they're very confident, and in old cinema they'd be wearing pants as opposed to dresses and things. It was an interesting talk we were having.
Pants wear.
And but it's White Queen trying to not I'm not saying seduce, but to persuade Kitty to join her way of doing things.
Right.
And she has Kitty trapped. Kitty's restrained the whole time, and she's trying to basically convince her to join the Hellions, as they're called. Meaning they're kind of like the junior to the Hellfire Club. So she has these recruits. So in this issue, we get a lot of that talk, and then the New Mutants. Ileana hears like a Kitty Pryde psychic scream for help. Right. And so Ileana sends an astral projection of herself to the school to witness what's happening to Kitty. And while that happens, her demon familiars, if you understand what I mean, like what those are, they're like loose in the mansion, and the New Mutants burst into action to stop these like demon familiars. And then it's like the silly, over the next few issues, it's sort of those silly tropes that you've already read, you already know them, where the gang's like, hey, we've got to go help Doug Ramsey and Kitty Pryde. We need to do this. What are we going to do? Well, we're not allowed to leave because we're kids. Professor always says you can't go. So let's call the Fantastic Four. Oh, we got that stupid robot again. Oh, let's call the Avengers. Oh, Jarvis says they're away. Of course, they're all at Secret Wars. But no one knows, right, what's going on. And so the kids decide to take the bus to Massachusetts and solve this problem themselves. And they have a lot of debate within about whether they shouldn't go, how they're going to go, all that stuff. Eventually they get there, and the Hellions reveal themselves, including Thunderbird's brother.
Warpath?
He will eventually go by Warpath, but at this point he's just known as Thunderbird. And then if you were to classify him in the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, he'd be called Thunderbird 2.
Right, I was going to say. Do they call him Thunderbird 2?
They just call him Thunderbird.
It's a missed opportunity.
It's a missed opportunity. Thunderbird Deuce.
Thunderbird 2. Same power set as his brother?
Yes.
Supposed invulnerability?
Oh. So anyway.
Boom!
That all plays out. They fight a bunch of those Hellfire goons. There's one guy called Art. Like there's just...
Is he an artist?
Again. No, I wish. He would have been my favorite, except for Cutler. And then and Shaw's there, and they like each try their powers against Shaw, and he beats the hell out of them. And then they decide to have a duel against the Hellions, because the Hellions kind of have this moment where they say, hey, we chose to be here. Like, it was our choice to join. We're not prisoners. We don't like the idea that you guys are being forced to join. So we're going to like just duel, and whoever wins. And you're free to go, So anyway, by the time it's all over, Ileana transports them back. I'm like, why didn't she transport them there in the first place? But anyway, it took 3 issues to resolve all this stuff. The most notable thing about all of it is that when it ends, it's the end of iteration 1 of the New Mutants, because the next issue is the beginning of Bill Sienkiewicz coming on and Demon Bear. So like the title just goes from being a very by the numbers, kids running around the mansion, getting into trouble, having their baby X-Men stuff, to like, oh, we're leveling up storytelling wise with the legendary Bill Sienkiewicz, and he's leveled up his art, and he's gone abstract. He's taking the Western form and flipping it on its head. And those would, I'm sure the other shows have talked about those issues in depth, but it's kind of neat to see, the iteration of New Mutants, issues 1 through 17, like they've run their course. That's kind of all you're going to get.
Is it the same team the next iteration?
Yeah, it's the same group of kids. There's a character now on the team called Magma, which you wouldn't be able to resist doing that. So I had to set you up for that. I got an assist right there. I served you up one, a saucer pass, as it were.
Yari Curry, top shelf cheddar, baby.
There you go. Thunderbird Deuce is what happens after the chili cheese nachos. That's very on brand for our conversation all day Saturday as well.
It's true.
But yes, it was a good time. So that's what's happened. They're all back. Everything is kind of resolved. And it felt like I'm really glad we didn't spend an entire episode reading those because they're hard to get through.
Right.
And Salby Shema and maybe Mike Manley, or I actually forget who the other artist was. They were working on it, and it's just, it's on brand stuff. But there's a reason that the series leveled up when Sienkiewicz gets on.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Now, in the chat, hello, Gary Shipman. How are you, sir? Welcome back. Glad you're here. Dave Pretorius, glad you're here, man. We need to get talking. I haven't talked to you in way too long. Trevor 16 Shooter, glad you were here. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for letting me know it is Battle World you believe as well. And your recollection combined with my recollection makes half a recollection, so that's pretty good. I appreciate that. And Chuck, you're here as well. Thank you, Chuck, for being with us. I'm worried about the Thunderbird Deuce. That's those chili nachos. Chili cheese nachos.
Cheese nachos.
We got a chance, you and I, speaking of, we were at the Whitby Comic Arts Festival. So Whitby is a city just to the east of Toronto, outside of Toronto's official borders. So it's sort of one city to the east, or two, actually. Pickering is outside of Toronto, isn't it? It's a municipality. It's in Durham.
Durham. It's part of Durham.
So it's the sort of second city outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
And we were at the Central Library there doing a Comic Arts Festival, Chris and I, you and I, Chris. And it was good times. We got to hang out with former guest of the show, Jay Torres was there as well. And upcoming guest of the show, Jerome Cabanatan, who's like, dude, I'm offended. Why haven't you asked me to be on? So it was nice to be there and hang out with those guys. And it was special. But afterwards, most importantly, we went to 8-Bit Beans Cafe at the corner of Dundas and Brock, I believe.
Downtown Whitby.
On like the corner of like the main intersection in downtown Whitby. And it's like an arcade cafe, and they had the X-Men game.
Which we almost beat.
Well, we decided we each made like one cup of token purchase. You know what I mean? We each had a cup. And it was 3 men, 3 cups. And so you, me, and Jerome, we played through as much of X-Men as that would take us. I think I got killed the most. You guys started giving me tokens, which was really sweet of you. But man, that was so much fun for however long it was. Were we on it for a half hour, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, probably. Yeah.
That was good times.
We got to Magneto, and that was it.
But we got to the part where we saw that Magneto was actually Mystique,
yeah.
Killed her.
Yeah.
And then got to the real Magneto.
Yeah. After defeating the Brotherhood twice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was so much fun. So you guys were all under the impression Magneto's the end of the game.
Is it not?
But I don't know. I mean, couldn't we
guess we're going back
with... Yeah, we have to go back and we got to win. I don't think it's that hard. I think we can do it.
I think so, too.
Massimo, how are you, man? Your hometown, yeah. I remember you were at that festival last year. So it was nice to be there again. And it's too bad you weren't there. It would have been nice to see you. But I hear you. Yeah, Mass's hometown. Will we be at Mississauga Comic Expo in 2 more weeks? 1 more week? It's not this weekend, but next weekend. On the 19th, I believe. We will be there, sir. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping you'll be there too, or maybe all the boys from the city. Last time we were at Mississauga Comic Expo, the Living Arts Center, I remember how many of the city guys were there? I know Dickie was there.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was last year, I don't remember.
I don't remember if you were there, Dave. I feel bad. I don't remember who was there. But anyway, so be it. I think you were there. Oh, at least Dickie and you will be there. That's good. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. There you go. X-Men video game. If you haven't played it before, man, that was a lot of fun, eh, Chris?
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Colossus, man, that character is so powered up. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love his special. So good.
I'm not sure. I still have to learn maybe some. I'm gonna do some research so I can play better next time.
Yeah, there are things that we clearly weren't doing right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just doing a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so be it. Very cool. All right. Should we get this issue going?
I think
it's only been 20 minutes. Oh, one more thing.
Sure.
Anyone out there, all you guys in the chat, if you have not started watching Blue Eye Samurai, honestly, go now. It's on Netflix if you have a Netflix subscription or can get access to one. I think it's about 8 episodes, 1 hour a piece, animated, American, but in anime style. And it is, if you like samurai, if you like feudal Japan, outsider samurai, anti-hero kind of stuff, lots of blood. There are some genitals to be seen of all kinds. There are all sorts of sex acts to be seen if you're into any of that. So it's not safe for kids, is what I'm basically trying to say. But man, what a show. Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix. Check it out.
Watch it with your kids. All right.
Do not watch it
with your kids.
It is not safe. One of the neat things about the version that I see before me from you and the version in my hand is the line art on this big green dragon looks black, whereas the line art on mine looks really, really, really dark green.
Oh, okay.
Did I see the Shogun trailer? No. When you say Shogun, like the book? Are they redoing that finally? I will look for that. But I'm interested. But yeah, mine looks a little brighter, more like bluish in the green.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And not as yellow. And yeah, my dragon lines are like dark green. Anyway.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, dude.
With the X-Men hanging off the title there, all of them just hanging, which is that's a bit of a change.
That's fun.
Who is the woman on the far right?
Who do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, is it meant to be Kitty?
I think that's very fair to say, yeah.
Because you've got Rogue and Storm, Colossus, Wolverine, Nightcrawler. I mean, the short hair kind of looks a little bit like the Dazzler we're going to come up to, but I don't think it's that. And as we read the comic, I don't think it's quite as clear. So who is that?
I'm going to say it's Kitty because she's a member of the team.
Okay.
She's the only person on the team not there.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree that the hair doesn't really work, doesn't read as Kitty, unless it's sort of pulled back in some way. The outfit doesn't look like Kitty's.
Right.
But look at Colossus's outfit.
I know.
There's no yellow in the wristbands. His boots are wrong. It's open-chested.
Yep.
It feels like they're about to experiment with something. They're trying things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's got to be Kitty. So it's just maybe not a great drawing.
Strange. Just strange.
It is strange. I agree. In your version, Wolverine's head's cut off.
Wolverine's head's cut off.
On mine, it is just slightly cut off, but his mask is miscolored yellow, which is kind of funny.
And also, like, even the corner box with Professor X there.
Yeah.
Doing, like, these crazy kids here. Look what they're doing, lounging on a title. Like, is this meant to be like a fun, frolicky? I don't get it. But
young dragons in love, bro.
You're right. Maybe I shouldn't question it.
Yeah. Trevor says, yeah, it's a new version, and it looks amazing. Well, I'm 100% in. I enjoy the book. I never watched the miniseries that was famous of Shogun back in, the late 70s, early 80s kind of thing, or mid-80s. I never got into that. I never saw it. But I would absolutely watch Shogun. So I'll check that out. The second word done. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's get this in a full screen and plow through this issue, sir. Let's see what happens.
Here we go.
Oh, and maybe the best part of this issue, by the way, did you read the credits? I mean, not the credits, the letters page?
No.
Oh, we're reading the letters page today.
Perfect.
All right. Here we go.
Sure.
Stan Lee presents the Uncanny X-Men. Want to go back and forth? You go first, I go second. Go.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's translated from Japanese.
A dragon. We're supposed to say it together. A dragon.
Tokyo Story. Right? Chris Claremont, John Romita Jr. and Dan Green. Orzakowski still on letters. Man, he's been plugging away every month. Glynis Ween still on colors. And Louise Jones has been editing ever since the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah.
Editor-in-chief is Jim Shooter. Here we go. Jiro, look it up quick. Which monster is it?
Give me a chance, will you, Akiro? I'm going as fast as I can. Gojira, Space Cruiser Yamato, Astro Boy, Red Ronin, Hulk. The dragon isn't in our monster book. It must be a new one. We've discovered a brand new monster. What do we tell the kids? What do you tell the kids at school? They'll be so jealous.
It's awfully big, Jiro. Suppose it's hungry. Do you suppose it'll eat us?
Silly. Monsters don't eat kids. Hey, look! I can see people underneath. They popped out of nowhere, just like the dragon.
They're falling.
So there's a monster book in Japan. Is this because of the frequency of monster attacks?
I think that's fair.
And yet, it has everything from Gojira to Hulk.
True, and also Space Cruiser Yamato. You know what that is, by the way?
No.
This might be one of those things where the difference in age matters here. There was a show when I was a kid. In English, it was called Star Blazers. And it meant everything to me on television, you know.
Sure.
I was probably about 3 or 4 when I saw it, and it was Star Wars had already come and gone. It would be a couple years before Empire would be out, and it was about a crew aboard a flying sea destroyer with a giant cannon hole in the front of it, and it flew through space and was trying to go on a mission around the solar system to, like, I don't know,
kind of sounds like
cure for something to save the human race. And then whenever they wanted to, like, blow everything up, they would just use this giant cannon. But the thing that I loved was, like, the archetypal characters. There was, like, the old surly Captain Highliner kind of guy who was the captain of the ship.
Right.
But then there were, like, the 3 characters that were the adventurer, like the pilot and this guy. And then they had, like, one, they all wore white suits, but one had, like, the red symbols, one had the blue, one had the green.
Okay.
And it was just, I loved it, and I wanted to play it and imagine it. And like that and Battle of the Planets were just huge. And it was kind of funny to think about it now that us North American kids were just getting a huge dose of Japanese cartoons recut and overdubbed for some American, you know, audiences and American narratives.
Yeah.
And they were hugely impactful. And everything else I saw in animation after that never felt as, like, interesting looking as those shows did in their late 70s and early 80s. Trevor says Star Blazers was amazing. It felt like it was like seeing Robotech.
Well, that's what that's when you were seeing a giant ship going through the earth, I was like, oh, it's Robotech. Right.
It was a few years before Robotech got to at least Canada. But yeah, it was really cool to me. And now I'm sure it's ridiculous. But
I still remember watching Robotech for the first time, and then, like, realizing that, like, the pilots were actually dying and being like, "Oh wow, this is people are just getting killed here."
Oh yeah, I mean the American shows did not set us up well for watching those other narratives, like on G.I. Joe, no one died.
Right,
and they're just shooting lights at each other, not even lasers, just lights. So seeing a show where there was consequences was a big deal
every time.
Yeah, it was very cool. So it's kind of funny that in their monster book, there's this Space Cruiser Yamato. Mm-hmm. But by 84, you know, American audiences kind of know what that is. They've seen those shows. And Astro Boy also, not a monster.
Astro Boy.
But a huge
Astro Boy.
You know, cult classic in the States.
Yeah. Hey, did you watch Astro Boy as a kid?
I did not. I would absolutely now. But no, it didn't have... the design of the character was it wasn't appealing to me at the time.
Right.
Yeah, I struggled with anime and manga early on, but now I'm much more ready for it. What about you?
Red Ronin is?
No,
Near
I don't.
Anyone in the chat? Well, let us know if you know.
We'll see.
All right.
Are they hurt? Are they dead?
They look like they've been in a terrible fight. Was it with the dragon?
Aki, Tarek, I recognize them. They're in our book. They're the X-Men.
They're also in this book.
Monsters.
It's actually the Darkhold. That's what we don't realize about these demon children. Hey,
where did this wind come from?
Hold me, someone! I'm being blown away.
Grab my hand, Aki. The dragon is flying off.
It's flying off. Yep. Ugh.
I hate to tell you, troops, but this ain't Central Park. So long as it is Earth, Wolverine, I am content.
Some tea, honored sir? It's hot and very good.
Why, thank you, lad. That's very kind.
Everyone here? It seems so rogue, but where is here?
Look at the kids, Elf. Listen to them talk. It should be obvious. Where precisely in Japan are we? Sorry, where precisely are we in Japan, young fella?
Kanagawa.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Kanagawa Prefecture, Wolverine-san, on the main island of Honshu. The nearest town is Yamato.
Can't seem to stay out of this friendly country even when I want to. We're south of Tokyo, about 20 clicks inland. We were told we'd be returned to where we were taken from. I remember us materializing in New York. Then there was a blinding flash. Our world turned inside out, and we woke on this hilltop. What went wrong? And what happened to Cyclops? Why is he no longer with us? To learn where our heroes have been and what happened to them. Read Secret Wars on sale now.
Excuse me, but is that little dragon related to the giant one that just flew away?
Huh. Dragon? What dragon? The creature that became involved with Lockheed while we were off Earth. But they were the same size. Not anymore, Charlie.
What should we do, Professor? Our favorite heroes.
Storm's hair is gone.
She dresses so different.
We'll be late for school.
Who cares?
I like it.
Get them to autograph their books. Whatever.
In the children's minds, I can see today's date. X-Men. We've been gone over a week. We're too far from home. I'm afraid there's little chance of my contacting Kitty Pryde telepathically. When we were snatched from Earth by the Beyonder, Kitty had just flown off to the Massachusetts Academy with her friend, Douglas Ramsey. Since that school is affiliated with the Hellfire Club, she was depending on us to back her up in case of trouble. Rogue, you can reach home far faster than any of us, save perhaps Storm, and have sufficient power to aid Kitty should she need it. The rest of us will follow as soon as we've dealt with this dragon.
Storm, you're the boss. You want I should go?
I've always found that way of phrasing things really funny and idiosyncratic. I've heard it, many times, but I've never, ever thought of speaking that way.
Right.
You want, I should go. It is like, you want, I should go, like that flow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not something but anyway, I get it. Much as I would love to, Rogue, my place is with the team. The dragon is here because of us. We are responsible for it. We have no choice but to ensure it does no harm. Make certain Cyclops and the New Mutants are all right as well.
I'll do my best, Prof.
Shit. I shouldn't have spoken as I did. The others are confused and angry. They don't know who's in charge. I know who's in charge. Charles is in charge. I mean, they don't know who's in charge or who's the boss.
Wait, I know who's the boss. No, wait.
But what am I to do? After years of being forced to sit on the sidelines, I am at last able to truly be a part of the team. I can't help leading in the field as I do in the classroom. The role comes naturally to me, like my natural beautiful head of hair. I'm not sure I could give it up, or even if I want to. I hope Charlie knows what he's doing. Conflict of command is never good. I had my fill of it when Roro first took over, and Psych kept horning in. Ooh, I didn't expect horning in.
Yeah,
meaning well and doing well, but always undercutting Storm's authority and confidence. That was when she started getting tough inside. It was all that horning. I wonder if she was overcompensating, trying to be better than Psych at the job. He did better than anyone. Storm tore out her soul to do this job, Charlie, and you're pulling rank as much as tells her it was for nothing. That you think she can't cut it. That's wrong, bub. And so are you.
And I'm gonna pop my claws now.
There's a lot of talking and thinking on this page.
Mm-hmm.
Like would you agree this is like he's overwriting?
Oh, this is just a lot. So much.
It's so much.
So much.
It'd be really funny. I don't know if any of these scripts exist in script form, but like to see what it looks like on a typed out page. You know? Like, yeah, he overwrites so much.
And say it's like this, there's 5 pages of dialogue. I want that in one panel.
Clang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang. The War Room of the National Command Center, Japanese Combined Self-Defense Forces.
Spotters report a giant dragon, sir, heading for Tokyo.
It can't be. This is the off-season.
That's a good joke.
I love that American readers are so American readers are so used to associating monsters in Japan that they'll totally embrace this idea that Japan has monster seasons. Yeah. It's so funny. The other thing I did not know going into this issue as a kid, or any comics as a kid, was the amount that the Japanese military had been restricted.
Absolutely.
After World War II. I did not know anything about that. I think it was at a certain point when I was in my late 30s when I learned that they were not allowed to basically amass an army after World War II. So it was anyway interesting. But then to see like an army in full force here, right? It conflicts with those understandings anyway. Yeah, the off season's really funny.
Monster Island reports all their creatures present and accounted for.
Just what the world needs. Another monster. Why us, Hideki? Why couldn't have attacked Los Angeles? Those bastards.
It's directly over the city, General.
Sound a stage 1 alert. I want that beast driven off or destroyed.
Another sighting, General. It's the American superhero group, the X-Men. They're pursuing the dragon.
Splendid. Of course, I have the utmost faith in our troops and weaponry. But against menaces such as this, Lady Mariko, it's best to have all the help we can get.
Why is she there?
Good question. You want to read her?
Sure. The X-Men. Wolverine should be with them. Shiro, perhaps you also may be of use.
Is your concern for the homeland, Mariko, or for your Gaijin lover?
I am Lord of Clan Yoshida, cousin. It is not your place to question my will. Merely obey.
Before we go further, do you know who Shiro Yoshida is?
It's her cousin, isn't it? Silver Samurai?
Maybe. I'm about to look it up because I forget.
Oh no, Silver is her half brother. Maybe not.
So it's who I thought it was.
Bringing it up now.
But I'm just like the look of the character. Is so diminutive, kind of like he looks very, very opposite to who we're about to see.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it would be like if he goes through some sort of transformation, like a power-up, body power-up. Like this looks like a very gentle, non-combatant sort of fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Did you forget they were cousins?
No, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
So Silver Samurai is her half brother. And Shiro Yoshida is Sunfire.
Sunfire, yeah.
Yeah. So we knew that back when they were in Japan for the Moses Magnum story.
That's right.
And that's where I think they meet Mariko for the second time.
And let's not all forget how much of a jerk Sunfire is.
Right. He's really quite obedient. And except for that, the Gaijin lover comment, which doesn't match the face, too. Like,
no, it doesn't.
If he's being snarky, then draw me snarky, you know? But yeah, I wasn't expecting her to be there either.
Yeah, what is she in that war room?
Especially with that very dramatic on her chin.
I am the head of Clan Yoshida. Yeah, this is a government facility. I don't think that really matters here.
Yeah, has a special role of some kind.
Yeah, she's like an attaché almost, you know? She's always around.
Yeah. Meanwhile, downtown, the dragon is making its presence felt. I'm also getting the feeling that, like, you know, there's no art reference to downtown Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
The size of that thing and strength. It's tearing that skyscraper apart with ease. But why? It was always a gentle beast, ours and Lockheed's friend. I guess I never mentioned that before. There was a little green dragon on the battle world that was like special buddies with Lockheed. But when they've come back to Earth now, it's really big and Lockheed's
full size. Yeah.
But you got that. Could its size change in this alien environment? Have disoriented it? That poor creature. I feel like there should be a period there. That poor creature has been driven mad. Environment so disoriented it that the poor creature. Gotcha. Our first priority is to safeguard innocent lives, Colossus. Your responsibility is the falling debris. So we're also seeing, like, for the first time, her use the powers in a way that, like, take the X-Men for a fly through.
Yeah, this is kind of a neat power set, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with it, but it like this could have been so useful so many times.
Mm-hmm.
If she can control like different winds for each person, so they could like actually take turns through a downtown corridor of some kind, like go winding through the skyscrapers, it would be super cool. Just everyone go on a wind ride. Anyway, it works. There's a lot of inconsistencies with Colossus's costume in this one.
Well, it's all ripped up a bit, but
it's
also different.
Yeah, it varies. There's not a lot of consistency there. But then look at his left arm in this picture. It looks like maybe Romita Jr. didn't even draw all the lines and like
bandaged.
Yeah. It looks like the hand is even bandaged. Maybe that's actually part of it. I'm going to go back now and look to see if it's been bandaged up the whole time. Because
it was bandaged in issue 180.
Well, that makes sense, but he's been gone for 12 issues.
True.
And he was with a healer. Okay, when he falls from wherever he falls, his arm is totally bandaged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's wrapped up pretty good the whole time. And I wonder if this is Romita drawing him the way he left him, because he, of course, hasn't read 12 issues of...
Right.
So that's just a weird inconsistency.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't his arm broken or whatever? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, he had all those like wounds, you know?
Yeah.
From that incident with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
The Brohood, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mummy arm.
It is.
It's cosplaying, that's all.
He's got secret mummy powers now.
Secret mummy powers. All right, let's go, Colossus.
All right. I am glad of some action. It will take my mind off the love and happiness I have lost forever.
In his armored form, Peter Rasputin is virtually invulnerable, except to extreme heat and then cold, by the way. One of the strongest beings on the planet. Now he uses that strength to pulverize huge chunks of glass and steel and masonry before they hit the ground. By the way, this pose of Peter using
a baseball bat.
Yeah, I feel like this pose is so signature JR. Like it's right in his wheelhouse of movement. But I feel like if he was going to draw this panel today, he would almost draw the exact same thing in terms of the gesture, like the action of that pose. It just feels so distinctly JR to me. But
it's a great distinctive Colossus pose too.
Yeah, big swing.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously, Storm's elemental powers create a tornado that scoops up the rubble and hurls it out to sea. Well, that's nice. Nightcrawler's job is to teleport people out of harm's way.
The strain of porting with passengers is murderous for me, as well as them, and they only have to do this once. But better to be sick than squished.
It'd be fun to watch them all puking in the next panel.
Oh.
Yeah.
While Xavier and Wolverine see to those less fortunate. There are scores of people trapped in the wreckage, Wolverine. I can hear their mental screams, feel their agony. Just point me in the right direction, Charlie. I'll do the rest.
And I'll finish him off.
That's right. I think that's what that means.
I'm going to let the dog out. Hold on a second.
All right. That's good because this is lots of Jason reading here. Lots of Jason reading. Professor! Yes, Storm. Can you forge a psi-link with the dragon? It knows you, trusts you, as much as any of us. Perhaps you can calm her. I'll try. Astonishing. For the most part, the creature's thought processes are quite normal and orderly. What she's doing makes perfect sense. She can't comprehend why everyone's so upset. I'll have to probe deeper. Make her understand. No! She's misinterpreting my mind touch as an attack. She's toppling that building at me. Well, dude, don't go into her mind. It's not nice.
Yeah, geez.
However, in the proverbial nick of time, what the devil?
I'm disappointed in you, Xavier, son. Have you so soon forgotten the protector of this most ancient land?
Sunfire.
That's my name. Say it again.
Sunfire. I think he looks cool.
That's a cool shot. I like that shot.
Yeah, it feels like that's not a Romita drawing, though.
No.
It looks a little off-brand at the moment, but I kind of think he looks cool. I wonder, though, like if you get a Japanese artist, a contemporary Japanese artist to like redraw, not necessarily redesign in a crazy way, but redraw him through like their own lens, to make it look like it was their design as opposed to whoever drew him for the first time. Actually, I wonder who designed his costume. I wonder if it was like Neil Adams or something. Maybe one of the guys in the chat knows, because Sunfire appeared before he joined the X-Men. He had appeared in comics already before Giant Size #1.
Right.
So I wonder actually whose design is his. And you can see the like samurai helmet influences in his mask. But other than that, he doesn't feel overly inspired.
Do you have a Sunfire fig?
Yes, I do. I have the Sunfire fig. And
There's only one?
I say that not meaning it's the best one, but yeah, it might be the only one. And it is on a very good body. He has good joints, good articulation. It's like a relatively modern Marvel Legends, maybe 5 years or so.
Okay.
Maybe a little more. It's like you don't ever need to replace it. It's a good one. Yeah.
Cool.
I should have brought it up. I'm sorry I didn't. If for some reason we have a 5-minute break, I can go dig it out of my bin in the basement because he's not on display, but I don't really want to. Anyway. The lad is as cocky and careless as ever. His nuclear plasma bolt incinerated most of the wreckage, but there is still more than enough to finish me. In Sunfire's wake come wave after wave of fighter bombers. pilots pressing their attacks with incredible skill and daring. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew. While on the streets below, the tank corps lays down a complimentary barrage of cannon shells and ultra electricity energy beams. Choo, 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 choo. Chuck Dodson says Don Heck did the original design, and Trevor16 Shooter says Don Heck, according to Wikipedia, from X-Men 64 says Chuck, based on Roy Thomas's description. So I wonder what Roy Thomas would have said. Like, hey, he's wearing red, he flies, and he has a Japanese kind of mask. I wonder.
I got it. No problem. Say no more.
Don Heck does not get a lot of like big cred in Marvel, in Marvel history for what his contribution, because most of what he drew looks awful. He was one of the guys that was sort of working on books after Kirby would leave them. Like Kirby would start a book, do a bunch of issues, and then Don Heck would take over and try and stay close to Kirby as he could, but he was always lacking. He was doing Thor for a bit, and it was Journey into Mystery, did some of early Avengers issues, did X-Men issues, but Kirby would set them up and then leave the book once it got rolling. And Kirby stayed on FF for like 100. That was sort of his steady for a long time, was doing the FF. But boy, oh boy, whenever there's a Don Heck issue, it's not fun to read. Don Heck is the one responsible for like the worst X-Men costumes too. There's like that awful Angel one.
Oh, the yellow and the
Yeah, with the everything.
Yeah.
Trevor adds, I had Don Heck design the character from my verbal suggestion of a costume that was an embodiment of the Imperial Japanese Rising Sun flag. Yeah, okay. I hear ya. Don Heck gave him that mask, kind of a weird dragony kind of mask. Yes, and the the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon Return of the Jedi, where like the upper lip comes over like a catfish kind of,
Are you talking about Nien Num?
Nien Num.
Are you talking about from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. That big hanging over upper lip flap. But also some samurai masks kind of sit like that too.
The guy's the best.
He is. There's a layer of that lip. Okay, it has like an outer dermal layer, and then it has this like all of his undertimes too. But there's one layer of his lip that is a semi-mucosal membrane,
and
it looks like if you cooked him, like you smoked that meat of that one lip, it would be delicious on a deli sandwich.
Nice. That's some high bread.
A spicy mustard.
Nice.
He's probably one of the only characters in Star Wars that I've ever thought about eating.
Wow.
Yes, it does have some Neil Adams vibes. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for the support. I'm backing me up. I gotta get off that topic of eating Star Wars characters.
Nice.
Oh my god.
All right, done it. Boy, shamoy.
These guys know their business. But then, from what Marika told me, and what I saw myself when I worked over here, they've had a lot of practice.
Lucky they won't like them shooting at his lady love.
What's the worry, Elf? They're not doing her any damage. Kind of neat seeing Wolverine's mask all around like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it looks cool. And then we get, a nice change, and like you get that Paul Smith fine line art again, where it's like the thinnest lines being used here, but it really expresses her like femininity and the delicate side of this, as opposed to all the heavy lines in the last couple pages. Interlude. The Beachcomber Hotel. Hey, shouts to Beachcomber. Beachcomber is the Canadian TV show.
I was there this summer.
Yeah, man. If you want to know the roots of Canadian culture, everything happens from a TV show called The Beachcombers. It is maybe the greatest contribution that's ever been made to Canadian culture. I think you can't disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, the Beachcomber Hotel, Tahiti, where a young bride faces the awful, numbing fear Oh, numbing. You know, that reminds me of.
No.
Yen yum.
Oh, there you
Yum
go.
yum.
Yum yum.
The awful numbing fear that she may have become a widow. But then, quite without warning,
Yow!
Who do you want to be, by the way?
Hi, Madeline. Scott,
okay.
You're back. You're alive.
Hi, Madeline. You won't believe what happened.
You disappeared right out of my arms.
It wasn't my idea. I was kidnapped.
That's supposed to make me feel better. You've been gone over a week. Do you have any idea what that was like? Not knowing if you were alive or dead, not able to help.
It wasn't any easier for me.
I thought you understood.
No, It's Scott.
Scott.
You have to read it totally different, like this. I thought you understood. I can't change who or what I am. My powers as Cyclops gave me a special responsibility. They also make me a target. Madeline, I'd give anything to live a normal life with you. But I don't think we'll ever be that lucky. I'm sorry.
It's her, yeah.
I think so.
I guess this is what they meant by for better or worse.
Could be. I love you, Red.
Likewise, Hotshot. Till death do us part.
And by the way, I hope you don't mind me calling you the same thing I called my other redhead girlfriend.
Yeah. No, she doesn't mind. Oh. Hey, by the way, this also, for those who might be wondering why they're in Tahiti, there's a few issues back where they were flying across the ocean on a honeymoon romance, and we're basically flying somewhere over the Pacific trying to find an island, and I guess this is it. I guess they're going to Tahiti.
Yeah.
But then they had to fight a giant octopus and a shark. Worked out well.
A little lip lettuce. This is working in some hockey terms for episode 99. Thanks, Trevor. You're the best. You're the best. Lettuce meaning a player's hair. So a little lip lettuce. Yeah, that's really good. Do you have a bit of modern hockey slang? Because hockey slang's gone to a whole other level in the last few years. Yeah. Thanks to Letterkenny and Shoresy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, we've been calling it a bucket for a long time.
Yeah.
But are there any new terms that you like now that you would incorporate if you were ever to talk hockey silliness?
I can't really think of it on the top of my head.
You know what a tarp is?
A tarp?
Yeah.
Nope.
So if we say tarps off, it means take off your shirts.
Okay.
So their jerseys are their tarps. So yeah, tarps off. Yeah, that one's fun. Ben and I, my son and I, like to talk as much hockey slang as we can when we're in the right mood, just to be absolutely silly with it. But yeah, the bucket and the flow.
Oh yeah, the flow. Yeah.
Yeah, all that silly stuff. All right, we'll keep going. We'll see.
I'd be happy if someone could stop a puck. That's what I'm happy with.
Well, yeah, his name is Joseph Worrell.
Well, yeah.
He did great last night. Come on.
He did.
Tokyo. The Japanese throw everything they have at the dragon. She doesn't even notice. As her work done... What? She doesn't even notice. As her work done, she beats her way skyward. What do you think she's doing, by the way? You have a sense? Or you already know?
Well, she's collecting things, it looks like.
Well, there you go.
Okay. There you go.
Wings generating gusts of such force that 70-ton main battle tanks are swept aside like toys, and skyscrapers designed to withstand the worst earthquakes imaginable begin to sway ominously. I must contain the dragon's wind, or she will level the city. By the way, the dragon's wind is what we call it.
The dragon's wind is the name of my D&D party.
I was going to make a joke at my wife's expense, but I will not. I must contain the dragon's wind, or she will level the city. but its power. Fighting a hurricane would be less effort.
It's my guild. It's my troll guild.
Goddess! I have created a tornado. It is hurling me into the air. Thrown too high, too fast. Effort left me too weak to withstand sudden acceleration. Barely conscious. Cannot stop myself. Pull free. Meanwhile, Sunfire needs practice, some advanced training. He should have pulverized that debris. Others besides myself might have been hurt. I'd best... My legs! I can't move them. I can't feel anything. Merciful heaven! I've only just begun to walk again. That can't be taken from me. It isn't fair. I won't allow it. Charlie, cut it out, will you? You're screaming in our heads. Turn down the volume before you fry our brains. Wolverine, I'm trapped. You ain't alone, pal. I'm already looking for someone. How bad you hurt?
So I just want to say, like, that's interesting about like him saying you'll fry our brains, like, which is exactly what happens in the Logan movie, right?
Right.
Like he has, like that's what they infer happened to the rest of the X-Men, is that Xavier had an episode, and killed the rest of the X-Men.
Yes,
and
that is the inference in the movie.
That's right. And then when he's in the hotel and he has another episode, and only Wolverine's able to get to him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a really, I mean, it's kind of neat to see it show up here, you know?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's really good. And I'm going to just posit that in the two iterations of Old Man Logan, one being the comic book series, the original by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven, and then the second iteration being the film Logan. Spoilers, I guess. Wolverine kills all the X-Men in the Old Man Logan book,
right?
As he is manipulated mentally by Mysterio and others.
Yeah.
And the version where Professor X does it by accident, as he's losing control, and his everything is decaying, and Wolverine is sort of like the only one who survived it and carries the burden of having to kind of like live in that hell.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one's more powerful. Like Wolverine massacring everyone is maybe like way too much for one character.
Right.
And you can't be mad at Xavier because of his diminished capacity. You know, you kind of have to. Yeah, I'm not sure which one works better, but I like the idea that you can move that piece around the board and sort of try which version will resonate better, which version makes a bigger impact. I think that's kind of neat to think about. Like, okay, the idea of the story is, Wolverine at his end, but what gets you there? You can try different things and see what works.
And isn't it that though, with the way the impact has the impact on the story of Old Man Logan, the comic, is that he doesn't pop his claws until like issue 5.
Yeah, it really.
The last time he popped his claws was
right when he killed everyone. Then he tries to kill himself, and the act of laying down on the train tracks and having the train run over his head is he's trying to purge himself of the guilty party. He's trying to say, like, I don't deserve to be alive anymore.
Yeah.
And that's like the curse. And I get it. That is a really, that's an intense story beat. And it worked. When I read it, I found it really powerful. But I just like that idea that you can try different things to see which one will work better. Like, also you have to, Logan was a bit of an ensemble, not really an ensemble, but Xavier's supporting role, as the father, also like as the grandfather, helps Logan reflect on his role then as father for Laura. Like it's all neat and a really interesting play. Of course, the Old Man Logan didn't have X-23 in it.
That's right.
It wasn't about him as a father figure, because his spoilers, his kids die. Like, it's not about, he's trying to get back to his kids the whole book. And when he discovers they're dead, it's, he goes on a tear, but it isn't about him being a dad the way that Logan is about him coming to terms with being a father as well, and what that means to him. Yeah, all really interesting stuff. Man, I love those. I love that book and I love that movie. Two different things, but I love them both a lot. Yeah, true story.
I like the chat because we're
right.
We're building on the chili cheese nachos here.
The dragon's wind is what happens during the chili cheese nachos. Absolutely. It precedes the Thunderbird juice.
It foreshadows the deuce.
Oh, excuse me. All right.
Comrade Professor.
Colossus is here, Wolverine. Continue your search. I sense thought patterns near you to your left. Hurry, though. They are disjointed and very weak. Thanks, Prof. On my way. That's a really weird little tag at the bottom of the panel. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really work.
No.
Just like this little thought balloon off to the side. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm not seriously injured, far from it. But when I thought my legs had been crushed, I panicked. I never dreamt it was possible to know such terror. My body may be whole, but the old psychic scars remain, perhaps forever.
I definitely don't like this Xavier yellow suit.
No?
No.
Blame John Romita for that.
I will. Next time I see him.
Yeah, I mean, would you have preferred it had it been the inverse?
Maybe. I just need a lot of the yellow. I don't know.
Yeah. I hear you. What right have I then to lead the X-Men, or to even be part of the team, if I cannot master myself?
Be patient, Professor. This will not take long.
Charlie was really spooked. Do him some good to act human once in a while. You should try more often. I'm close enough now. I don't need him to guide me. My own enhanced senses will do the trick. I smell blood. Konnichiwa. How you ladies doing? Kid looks okay. She's just scared. Can't blame her. Her mom must have shielded her body with her own when the roof collapsed. Hush, little one. Don't disturb your mother. Let her rest.
My chest hurts. I cannot seem to catch my breath. Am I dying?
Hi.
I'm afraid.
I'm with you.
My daughter, Amiko, who will care for her?
I'll keep her safe. I'll see she's raised as if she were my own. You have my word.
Arigato, samurai, san, domo, arigato.
That's a big commitment, dude. I mean,
yeah,
it's the right thing to say to this woman, to let her pass peacefully. I get it. Does Wolverine take that seriously? I'm hoping he does. Do you think they ever come back to this character? Like, if he ever...
that was I'm like, are we going to see this?
I wonder. I really don't have any information about it. I haven't looked it up or anything like that. But immediately my first thought is that, you get Mariko to place her in a really good home,
Right.
And then Wolverine every year or whatever, like they check in on her and he becomes just a little guardian angel. But he's not tied to Tokyo. Like, he's not there full time to raise this kid. So I wonder what if they have something in mind, if it's just lip service, from Claremont, or if he actually had the thought of maybe following up with this. Oh my god, you guys. They say that the chili cheese nachos, the dragon's wind heals the deuce. No, it heralds the deuce.
Heralds the deuce.
Yeah, heralds the deuce. Jason says, hey, Jason, how are you? Professor X flexed his leadership during Secret Wars. Storm was not enthused. Yeah, that's for sure. It's an interesting new conflict to have with the team members, right? For the additional soap opera stuff. Elsewhere, you see Storm as they're falling just in front of the mouth of this big dragon.
I have you, Storm. Incredible. This creature seems impervious to my strongest bolts. Fortunately, it has no fire blast of its own. It could lay waste to the entire country. Perhaps when Storm recovers our combined... Oh! Should have seen that coming. Falling like meteors have to slow our descent.
The young samurai does his best. And, to an extent, succeeds, nobly bearing the brunt of the impact himself. Look, Storm's back. And see who's with her?
It's SUNFIRE, Japan's very own superhero.
Jiro, Taruki, the children on the hill? Have my winds blown me so far?
Are you all right, Storm-san? You feel so hard.
You fell so hard.
You feel and fell so hard.
It's in such interesting ways. Jiro!
Uh-oh.
You see here how it's like this big... You can see right through that page.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's also Batman.
It is Batman. I was talking about this last week about how there was a panel in the upcoming issue where they didn't lay down green. They just did the screen tone. But it needs the green and the screen tone. It needs some ink on this side because, oh my god, the ad from the previous page it comes right through. They got to lay down some ink. It was such a weird choice to not color there, as if the black dots would be enough. But no, the ground is anyway. It's supposed to be shaded. It's very weird. Children, run! But as the great beast closes in for the kill, under the noises. Okay, yeah, I was going to ask.
Sure.
Please and thank you. The dragon speaks in roars that shake the countryside, while Lockheed's voice can barely be heard. Still, he manages to make his point. She reels away. More in shock than actual pain, she can't believe this is happening. How could Lockheed treat her so, when she had given him her hearts? She never realized that was a gift he neither asked for nor desired. Oh, this is so intense and emotional.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
2 contacts, General. The tiny blips pursuing the dragon. They're heading north across the Sea of Japan towards Soviet airspace.
Good. Let's see them try to shoot that down. Central Tokyo was hard hit, Hideki. Notify Civil Defense. We're mobilizing all available rescue units.
Range closing between targets. Interception by my ancestors.
What is it? What is going on?
A massive energy discharge, sir. It's gone. The dragon's gone. They're both gone.
Keep going.
Oh.
Miraculously, though, the destruction of property is severe. Casualties and loss of life were kept to a minimum, thanks to the valiant efforts of SUNFIRE and the X-Men.
Big flaming deal. The damage been... Oops, never mind.
I'll say, have you heard? The monster vanished. The danger's over.
Big flaming deal. The damage has been done. We'll have to trace the kid's family.
And if she has none?
I gave my word, Elf.
I'm going to be a daddy.
I gave my word.
When I was on the Secret War battle world, I thought if I ever made it back to Earth and I had to ever rescue a kid, I'd make that kid my own.
I gave my word.
Gave my word. Wolverine is unhurt, and the X-Men and Cousin Shiro are well also. Praise the gods. I do not believe my eyes. Professor Xavier is walking. I thought he was crippled for life. This is a miracle. I wish I could be by my love's side. Seeing Logan only reminds me of how much I miss him. Does he still feel the same? I wish you well, dear one, though we may never meet again, nor gain the happiness we deserve. The path of duty is as hard for me and fraught with peril as it is for you. I pray I can walk in with your courage and honor.
By the way, path of duty.
Path of duty.
So it goes like this.
Dragon wind.
Dragon's wind.
Path
Thunderbird
of duty.
Deuce. And then path of duty. Sorry. It's so stupid.
Is it though? Is it stupid?
All right. Much later, at the close of this very busy day, back where it all began. What do you think?
Yeah.
Lockheed sure don't look any worse for wear.
Radar was tracking both him and the giant dragon. Then, poof! They vanished. Perhaps, Professor, you can learn where they went and why Lockheed's lady friend has not returned.
I think you calling it a lady friend.
Because Colossus is confused.
Well, I mean, you look here, like, right? Chuck says, damn, Lockheed letting her know that she was just a booty call. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's cold. It's the coldest thing we've seen in this series so far.
Totally.
Totally.
Colder than Iceman.
Totes.
Sensing his thoughts is one thing, Colossus. Comprehending them is another. Lockheed is truly alien, and I suspect far more than a simple animal. I have a feeling that, of us all, only Kitty has hope of truly understanding him.
Cool.
And therein lies part of the answer to Colossus' question. The dragon's, poor thing, was an unrequited love.
Wow.
I think it's Nightcrawler.
Is it?
That doesn't explain why she suddenly turned violent and tore Tokyo apart.
Love makes you crazy, Elf. You should know that. You find yourself thinking about settling down, raising a family, building a house or nest. It's a nice dream when it works. So, like, that dragon's got eggs? You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. Baby dragons are coming.
And you got to figure who's the daddy.
Yeah.
I think we know.
That's the thing we were talking. It's Colossus. It's the thing we were talking about, right?
Ooh, that's right. It's Colossus.
It's always Colossus.
Oh man. So I think that's what Jason's saying. He's like, just wait. You know, like there's more coming.
Yeah.
I wonder. Jose, how are you? 90s Sunfire design sucks hard. I like his original outfit. I actually don't know the 90s design, and I like the 90s. Not a hater. I think I don't even know what a hater is anyway. I think you're allowed to like what you like and dislike what you dislike. So you can be whatever a hater is. It's fine. You're allowed to not like something, but I don't know his 90s design. But anyway, I wouldn't mind seeing a modification. Just let someone else take a crack at it. On Cartoonist Kayfabe last week, they were talking to artist Kelly Jones, and he made a comment that has resonated with both the hosts of the show and me, where Kelly Jones said, like, when you draw a character, when you take on like a character like Batman, you kind of want to draw it as if you created it.
Mm-hmm.
Like really lean into your idiosyncrasies and make it look like it was yours all along. And I like that idea, and I think Kelly Jones is a great example of a Batman artist. who draws Batman in a way that looks like Kelly invented it. And I wonder if there was, like a Japanese artist or any artist for that matter, who could draw that Sunfire premise as if it was their invention and, where it looks really, really good. And Chuck says, Colossus banged a dragon? I'm here for it. Yeah, I would read that book. Epilogue, Washington, D.C. Do you care which role you play?
No. Do you want to be the president or senator?
Well, Senator Kelly, this bill is an obscenity.
Do you deny the facts?
No, Robert. Merely your conclusions and the methods you propose to deal with them.
Philip, it takes sophisticated technology and expertise to build a nuclear bomb. None at all to create a mutant.
By the way, I don't think it's the president.
Okay.
If you look what building they're in.
Yeah, Capitol. Right.
Yeah.
I can name half dozen. Already extent with power sufficient to ravage the world. Who can say how many others exist that we don't know about? We have to be able, as a nation, and perhaps a species, to defend ourselves.
Granted. But what you propose will only make matters worse. Robert, it isn't that far removed from legalized slavery. I respect you as a colleague and friend, but I won't support you on this. Indeed, I'll do everything possible to stop you.
You're making a terrible mistake, Philip.
One of us is, Senator. I only hope it isn't irrevocable. It's a federal bill, the Mutant Affairs Control Act, introduced on this day, 23rd of January 1984, the second session of the 98th Congress by Senator Bobby Kelly.
I'm a man meant to be, yes, I'm a man meant to be, and I'm hoping that they ratify me.
Okay, so this is the beginning of the Mutant Registration Act, right?
Right.
It's kind of interesting. What are you laughing at?
Oh, Jason says, Senator Kelly's from Massachusetts.
Yeah, but of course he vacations in the South and
I could have done the you're Quimby, Diamond Joe Quimby.
Senator Kelly sucks. Yes, he does.
He does. Foghorn Leghorn. I say, this Mutant Registration Act.
Will you do me the favor?
Sure.
Of partnering with me on this X-Mail?
Sure.
Would you read the letters and I'll read the answers? Or if you want to do vice versa and you get to do a Wolverine, that's fine with me too, of course.
No, I could read the questions here.
Well, it's my turn. So if you haven't been paying attention, in the last, 5 issues or so, they have answered the X-Mail with the singular voice of each character. And this time it's Wolverine's turn. So this is a fun one.
All right. Dear X-Chroniclers, X-Men number 172 did something for me that has never happened before. For the first time since I started reading the new X-Men, and that has been since Giant X-Size X-Men number 1, I was emotionally involved with the characters. If only for the space of 20-odd pages. The X-Men were alive, with hearts pumping blood, not colorist's ink. They were people, not state-of-the-art comic characters. Thank you.
Now, I wonder if this is like Mike Allred's family. This is Lee Allred. Yeah, from Utah. Hate to disillusion you, bub, but we are people. It's like, okay, not saying thanks, glad we reached you, but it's like, no, we're yeah, anyway.
Louise, Wolverine. Several things about X-Men 172. Aurora's problem has me worried. Logan's powerfully subtle comment, "You're different," scared me. If nothing else, he is a good judge of people. What is this about Rogue being part alien? I reread every other appearance she made since her debut in Avengers Annual 10 and couldn't find anything else that related to that comment. Also, you've already got me feeling sorry for her. The little girl lost pose on page 3 evoked sympathy for me, an emotion that could be dangerous for the X-Men if they, like myself, refuse to trust her completely.
I disliked Wolverine's narration of the happenings. As much as it may be creatively enticing for Chris to structure stories this way, it distracts from the learned feeling of the book.
No, the team feeling.
Feeling. Save this type of storytelling for miniseries or annuals.
Touche.
What's that?
I said touche.
Touche. Glad to see Yukio back. I'm still hoping she will end up married to Logan instead of bland, honorable Mariko. Wow, okay, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas. Watch your step, fella. You're treading on real dangerous ground when you talk like that about Lady Mariko. And whatever gave you the idea that Yukio wants to get married to anyone. I told the story because it was my story. As for Rogues being part alien, that's easy. Ms. Marvel was part human, part Kree. The Kree being an alien imperial race. When Rogue absorbed her powers and memories, she became part alien. Got it, pal? Good, because I ain't explaining it again.
Amazing. Dear sirs, on page 9, panel 2, the name Yoshida Shingen, or is it Shingen Yoshida? Also, in early X-Men issues, is it Yoshida? Though now it's Yoshida? Explanation?
Thanks, Paul. In Japan, it's customary to address people using the family name first, then their proper name. If you were Japanese, you'd be referred to as Bonanka Paul. Since Lord Shingen's family name is Yoshida, he's addressed as Yoshida Shingen. Among Westerners, he'd be addressed as we are. Family name last, in your case, Paul Bonanka. In his, Shingen Yoshida. The Yoshidas are a subordinate branch of the family. Yoshida Shiro, the Japanese superhero Sunfire, is Lady Mariko's cousin.
Wow. All right. Dear editor, guess what? Your interpretation of the Anchorage International Airport in X-Men 168 and 172 is the biggest laugh I've had in years. The errors you present are so blatant that even your department map would know the difference. Oh, department mop would know the difference. As an Anchorage resident and a recent devotee of the X-Men, I take affront to the fact that writers of your caliber cannot even take the time to investigate the realities of the locations you use. I strongly suggest that you either get a book of Alaska with pictures you can use for reference, or take a trip and see what you will probably be writing about more often in the future. AJ Platt and Andy Ramsey and the rest of the gang at Chuck's.
I love that one. That one's so special to me. I love it. These guys are just so...
We're hanging at a Chuck's in Anchorage.
The clowns producing the book did their best, AJ. But the truth of the matter is that Psych was there and he didn't send him any reference. Photos of Alaska they could get, but not of Anchorage Airport. Also, they were a lot more worried about getting the Japanese scenes right. Since I gave them lots of Japan photos. Special kinds, too. Real interesting Japanese photos. Since I gave them lots of Japan photos, I wouldn't have appreciated it if they mucked up those scenes. In fact, I'd have gotten downright angry. So, again, just fussing over these kinds of details is so funny.
So
they are on such a tight schedule. Like, if they don't have... Yeah, there you go. Do you mind doing a couple more?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Dear Louise and Company, I know X-Men 172 was centered around Wolverine and his impending wedding, but for a moment, I would like to reflect on Storm. Aurora has been one of my favorite characters for years. I can identify with her closeness to nature, although hardly to her depth, her sacred regard for life, and her inner serenity. All are rare qualities in the hectic life of being a superhero. I feel strange calling her that. She's a person with powers, no more nor less. It is because of this uniqueness I was drawn to her from the beginning, and why I am disturbed by its recent and apparent loss. Storm wonders why the transformation has occurred. The reason can be summed up in one word: change. Just look at the lady has gone through lately. psychic transference of the body of Emma Frost, and X-Men 151-52, becoming or almost becoming a vampire, and the concert of Dracula, and X-Men 159, Annual 5, and being a host form for a brood embryo. And there's the emotional pressures put on her, ranging from the mantle of leadership to Kitty's growth away from her, to the compromise of her moral code. To Storm, her body is her temple, and that temple has been defiled. Lots of change was inevitable, but I hope not permanent.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. It is amazing just like how many adults are really connecting with this series. And obviously there's a filter. Like, we're not getting a sample of all the letters coming in, right? We just get the ones they choose to publish. But it is really interesting to see what they do choose to publish. And it's all adults, right? I also just see up at the top in the credits here that it's Louise Jones, editor, and Ascenti assistant editor. I know Anne plays a role as assistant editor. I just didn't realize how soon, and I haven't been tracking to see how often that's been there. But this is the first time I've seen her name on the series. I don't much like what's happened to Storm either, Melissa. Though I gotta admit, she's getting better and better at running the team. To be honest, Gal, and I hope you don't mind being called Gal, because I'm going to call you Gal. To be honest, Gal, I don't always like what's changed in me the past few years either. Enough about Storm, more about me. My life was a flaming lot easier when I didn't have to worry about questions of honor and duty. In those days, if I had an itch, I scratched it. I wanted something, I took it. Simple, straightforward, no hassles. Being around Aurora and later Miko made me realize there was more to life than that. They held out a promise of something better, and I went for it. Sometimes I wish I hadn't. Now Storm's going through some kind of change, and hopefully out of all that emotional chaos will come a rising and advancing of her spirit. It's like tempering steel, alternately heating and cooling the metal, hammering it into shape. The process is pure agony, but results from it is far stronger, tougher, and more resilient than before. I know I am. Let's hope Storm does the same.
Wow. Dear Wolverine, how'd Viper get into issue 172? Last I knew, she was bada boomed out of the sky in Captain America 283.
The lady has a teleport ring, Paul. She probably used it to bamf herself to safety an instant before the balloon blew up.
All right, last one. Dear Xers, in X-Men 172, Rogue only had one white streak in her hair. In 171, she had two. What's happening?
All right. She changed her hairstyle, CJ. No big deal. I used to have a different costume. So did Storm. Kitty changes costumes every chance she gets. Question is, pal, is Rogue's hair auburn with a white streak or white with a lot of red brown? To all you who wish me well at my wedding, thanks. A warrior is measured by his enemies, but a man by his friends. And you all have shown me that I've got the best. Logan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. I hope you didn't mind doing that. Thanks for indulging me.
No, that's all right.
I find it interesting, like, who's writing that? So I'm assuming that would fall onto an assistant editor's job. Like, go play with this, and then editor Wheezy, like, I'll just check to see if it stays in. And you let Chris look at it, make but I find the Wolverine voices, it's there. Like, all the character fun stuff is there. Mm-hmm. It's very silly, but I find the fun of it, like the spirit of that, to be kind of charming. Some months it worked better than others, but this one I was into. Yeah, there you go. Letters column. Episode 99, dude.
99.
Yeah, so it's been, we're coming up on, I don't actually remember.
2 goals later.
I don't remember when we started, what week of the year. But, it's around 2 years,
It must
2-year
have
mark.
Fallish.
Well, next week is episode 100. And we should do something a little different and a little special to commemorate the 100th episode. We have a really nice run of guests coming up in the next little while, people who have asked to be part of the show or that we're going to invite back that have been on in the last couple of years. So we have some really fun stuff coming up. The next issue that we're going to cover in terms of the regular read will be 182, but that'll be in probably 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I went ahead and read this issue today to see if this would be fun for 100th, and I was like, nah, let's play with something a little more dynamic. So I'm excited about that. It's a nice splash. There we go. That's for in a couple weeks we'll get to this issue, but for now, that was a good read, and I'm looking forward definitely to next week. Speaking of
Century Club,
yes, the Century Club. Chuck, thank you, sir. He says, wow, you guys made it to 100. Congratulations. Can't wait for the special episode 100 chili cheese nachos. That sounds like a great idea.
It's just us eating chili cheese nachos and waiting for the Thunderbird deuce.
Yes. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, we'll share with the Dragon's Wind. Of course, got to plug as always. Check out our new graphic novel, Group of Seven Most Secret Tale, available on our site, group7comics.ca. And you can follow us on socials. Of course, there's now a new Instagram account for this very show called previously_in_X-Men. And you'll find us there, of course. And the link below this video is the Instagram for that, as well as our Group of Seven Comics links and your Insta, my Insta. It's all there. Give us a follow on everything if you can. It's always nice to have our numbers get a bit of a bump. It really helps. Jose says, are you guys also planning to read New Mutants and X Factor? The answer to that is no. We are not planning on it. We're trying. I mean, the mission was sort of to read the Claremont X-Men and to have that experience together of going through one of the most successful and impactful teen comics in modern American history, and I've sort of fallen in love with the macro arc idea from Claremont and seeing where things go in 150 issues of his guiding the ship. And after that finishes, I mean, we still have to make it another 100 issues. And after that, I don't know what will be, but we have a couple of years to figure it out. See what we do after that.
That's right.
Let's see if we can. Let's see how far we can take it anyway. It's been a fun journey so far, so we will see where we go. Congratulations, says Jason. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Our next 2 appearances, Chris. What do we got?
Saturday, November 18th, we will be in Cambridge, Ontario at the Hero's Tale, which is doing it's a new 1-year-old-ish store in Cambridge that's having a few creators come up, some folks from around Ontario, plus Gail Simone as well, familiar with her work. She'll be there. So we will be there. Or I will be there. Jay, I think you're teaching.
True.
That day. And then the next day, though, Sunday, November 19th, we'll both be at Mississauga Comic Expo, which is in the Living Arts Center in Mississauga, Ontario, right in the downtown there as well. So if you are in, you just need that ball around him now.
Yeah.
If you are in any of those spots or close to those spots, come check us out.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to both of those.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think of Magneto with the bare hands as opposed to the gloves?
I don't think I've given it much thought.
Well, this one has the red gloves.
Right.
Which makes it look like the purple piece is like a gauntlet over top of it.
Sure.
The previous version has the purple gloves.
Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah.
Which are fine. I'm not sure which one I prefer, but I kind of like the cartoon and the video game where he's barehanded. I think
that was cool.
Let's get his hands dirty. But either way, none of that matters. All is good. Stay tuned, of course, for more episodes coming. And if you can click like in the video, if you can share with anyone else you think would enjoy, that'd be greatly appreciated. Throw a comment down in the comment section below if you're watching on the replay. And that kind of brings it to the end there. What's going on here?
Yeah.
190 and 191 has a lot of characters.
We'll be there in about 2 months, so get ready for it.
Can't wait.
And shout out to new subscriber on YouTube, Uncanny Human Torch. Just want to give Uncanny Human Torch. Thanks for subscribing to the channel.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, anything else you want to throw at us before we go?
No, we got the new book. We got some upcoming appearances. I think we're okay.
I'm good. That is good for now.
And then come join us next week for 100 episodes of Previously in X-Men.
I can't wait for that. So that sounds like a lot of fun. I really like reading X-Men comics. Do you like reading X-Men comics?
Yeah, they're a bit of all right.
All right, that's good. Then get out of here. Let's call it a night, and we'll see everybody next week. And have a wonderful week, and take care of yourself.
Get your chili cheese nachos ready.